What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the ManscapePodcast. Before we get into this podcast tonight, I need everybody to go to www.TexasHotSauceCompany.com and order themselves a bottle of this lovely, amazing hot sauce. If you haven't got this hot sauce yet, you're missing out. And as I said, we have another special guest coming for y'all. Some of them might know you as the king of hot sauce. Some might call you the hot sauce boss. He is Mr. Texas Hot Sauce Company himself. Welcome to the Manscaped Podcast, Mr. H-Town Loki.
And the crowd goes wild. Okay, that's that. I might have ad-libbed that part, but that's all on me. Let's go.
Welcome to the show, Loki.
What's up, Steven? How you doing, my man?
I'm living good, my guy. How's things been? No one's seen you for a minute. Where you been at?
Busy, man. I've been running around like a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest, and I'm losing, but I'm not down yet. So we coming back, man. Coming back like H-Town strong.
Before we dig into the nitty-gritty, I'm going to give you a minute or two to plug in whatever you want and shout out and do what you want to do.
All right, what's good? It's your boy H-Town Loki with your Texas Hot Sauce Company Hot Sauce. We are an all-natural, no artificial flavors, colors, preservatives, added sugars, very natural base, very thick, very, let me see, hold on, let me get this other bottle. You'll see a little better. You'll see kind of thick hot sauce. Definitely get it. Me personally, man, I've eaten this on everything. I say almost everything, but one of those things because of some crazy friends I have. I've eaten on things that'll surprise you, but I'll save that for later. We'll get into those stories, but it hasn't failed me yet. One of the things I will tell you, like when I do make it, I make brownies with it, and people get they're flabbergasted because they're like, brownies with hot sauce. So yeah, man, come check your boy out, TexasHotSauceCompany.com. You could order yours. We ship every day, well, except for Sundays. USPS don't ship on Sundays, but I'll get it packed and put it ready for the mail for you. So
Everyone go to www.TexasHotSauceCompany.com and order yours now.
Already.
So, the name H-Town Loki. I know the answer to some of these questions I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask you for content purposes.
Oh, absolutely.
Where are you from?
All right, so my hometown is a small town called Abilene, Texas. If you have a chance to go to Abilene, don't. No, I'm kidding, man. A-town. That's the lean. That's my spot, man. I love me some lean. That's the good. I mean Abilene, y'all, not that other lean. Love me some Abilene, man. So that's my hometown. But I was an Army brat. I was born in Fort Rucker, Alabama. I've been all over the planet. A lot of places in the U.S. But yeah, Abilene is my home, and Houston's where I reside.
So, what was life like growing up then, being an Army brat and being a military guy? Like, did you grow up in Abilene? Where did you grow up? Or were you constantly on the move?
I was constantly on the move, but my high school years were done in Abilene. I remember actually when we were in Abilene, and my dad said we'd been there for about 2 years, and I came to him and I was like, Dad, what's wrong? And he's like, What do you mean? I was like, well, we haven't moved yet because we got so accustomed to moving, and I enjoy it because you see how I can go anywhere and how just start talking to people. That's attributed to me being in an Army brat because I had to move around a lot, and that's what we did. So I'd always have to make new friends. I got to go see places. At one point in time in my life, I could sprechen Sie Deutsch. I kind of let that go, so I can't do that anymore. But yeah, no, that was life. It's a lot of fun.
Um, I want to ask you kind of a touchy subject question for a minute, though. Being that you were always on the move, like, so there was kids. Obviously, you went to places that like kids grew up in those schools, so like that was hometown for them, right?
Hmm.
Did you ever like experience like racial issues or get hated on from being for somewhere else?
Oh, that's funny. So my father was, being in the military. A lot of the schools we went to could have been on post. On post, it was never an issue.
Hmm.
Um, my mom had recanted the time, like, that the first time somebody called me that word.
Hmm. That word,
And I came home and I was like, "Mom, what does that mean?" I mean, if they'd called me like a bastard or something else, we was fighting.
right?
And I didn't even know. I was like, "What is that?" So it was. We were at a civilian school at that point in time. The first time somebody ever called me that, and
Hmm.
that I didn't. Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't very often that happened. Now, um, in my hometown, it has some old history. So there's things that happened in my old town that were absolutely, but it had nothing to do with the fact that I was an insider outsider. Because in my hometown, um, my grandfather owned a restaurant. My family name was well known. It was supported by the community. Regardless of skin color or religious beliefs, people ate at that restaurant. I still talk about it today. I can't tell you how many times I get a message on Facebook. Oh, I remember your grandfather's restaurant. Let me tell you a story about blah 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 blah. So that it was just a small town. Well, I say small town. It's too big to be called a town, but it's too small to really be a city. It's kind of like in the between there. But yeah, but that's probably where I got it the most at. Really.
I apologize if I'm all over the map. I am going to try and track timeline order. Um, you told me that you had a restaurant at one time, and you said your grandfather had a restaurant. Is that where Turner Hill Barbecue came from?
Absolutely. So the original Turner Hills House of Barbecue was my grandfather's in Abilene, Texas. Um, my grandfather owned it at some point in time. My father ran it. My uncle has had his hands in it. So I was trying to bring back a family tradition when I did, and
Mhm.
I had the food on point. There was a lot to learn about running a restaurant that I didn't have on point. That was kind of detrimental, but it was funny because I remember all the things I used to have to do as a kid, and I hated doing them, and they made me do them, and I was like, I don't want to do this, and I'll never work in a restaurant. And then I remember when I was doing my own restaurant, and I started doing some of these things. I couldn't do nothing but smile, man. It just made me so happy. And then my father, he was still around, and he got to come check the restaurant out. He got to taste the food.
That's
He was
dope.
like, "Man, your grandfather would have been proud." And a lot of people were like, "Oh, this reminds me of your grandparents." And yeah, so it was an experience, man. But inevitably, I didn't keep the family tradition alive. Not that I'm done. I'm just we have to. It's going to take a little bit to get back to that point.
It seems like the word family means a lot to you. Is your family like really tight knit?
My family is the typical crazy family, but we're tight. Like, we mess with us, but don't you mess with us. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Um, no, I was real tight with my pops. Learned later in life to get. I tell you now, all y'all that might be out there beefing with your folks, man, don't do it, because life's different when they're gone. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
um, I realized as a kid, I'll never grow up and be like you. But as a grown man, I'm a spitting image, a micro image of him, of who he is or was. And it's it hits different when you realize all that stuff that they were onto you about. They might have been your number one fan. You just didn't see that. They were your
Right.
number one supporter. They were always in your corner. So yeah.
You mentioned school and always jumping around going to different schools. Did Loki do well in school growing up? Did he get in trouble? What was school like for you?
That's funny. That's a funny question. Um, so realistically, I was not an A student. It wasn't that I wasn't a good student. I later found out in life I was a bored student. I had a couple of teachers who knew that and would always challenge me because, like, say, I was great with science and math. I even things like art. Um, and like, say in science, they were trying to give us a science and explain the experiment, and I was always, and it got to the point they were like, "You shut up. I got it. I've got a different experiment for you after class," and I would have to go after class, and they would take me to that next step. Um, even when I had joined the military, I was what they call a split op. So I went to basic after my junior year, came back,
Mhm,
finished my senior year, and then I went to my tech school for the military, and I almost didn't graduate, and if I didn't graduate, I wouldn't be able to continue in my military. So
mhm.
I had what they call a 0 period to eighth period, no lunch or nothing, which was kind of illegal, but the principal backed my play, and a couple of teachers that were always in my backside, like always on me. They were the ones that helped orchestrate this. And then I realized that last year, like I was getting good marks because I really had to put my head down and get to it. It wasn't just the basic numb minding stuff.
Yep.
And I ended up graduating with my class on time with no problems. Because, yeah, if I'd have missed one credit, a half a credit, uh, I wouldn't have graduated.
So does Loki have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have two sisters. One from my dad's first marriage, and then my sister that's from my same mother. Um, my older sister is, ooh, she's at least, I think, 12 years my older. I have to do the math. That's too much math right now. She's a high-ranking education official in the Illinois area. Used to be in the Colorado area. She's
Mhm.
paving paths. My younger sister. Degree in education, but she's actually a female welder and right now quality control for welders and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah, we all seem to get in and get our hands dirty and get to work.
How many kids do you have?
From my loin, one. From my marriage, an additional two.
What's it like for you being a father and watching them grow up?
Tough. About my daughter, she was she's a little nerd like her dad, and she was really into the Harry Potters and stuff. And as a little bitty kid, we would all like Harry Potter come out in the theater. We're going to the theater and watching Harry Potter before we were buying the box set when it came out on DVD, right? Um, and I say box set. Hell, I think I still have some that are on VHS. Really, yeah. Go ahead. Old insert old joke here. Okay. But anyways, I remember one year. She was in college and she was coming to visit, and I was like, oh wow, the new Harry Potter's out, and I think this was like 6 or 7, and I was like, the new Harry Potter's out, blah blah blah, and she was like, Dad, um, I don't do that anymore. And I was like, my baby's not a baby no more. So it was rough, man. It was rough. Matter of fact, she became a foreign exchange student in Japan,
Wow.
and I took her to the airport, and like I didn't have to help her pack. Did you remember this? Did you do none of that? She was like, and I'm like, God, she a grown ass child. Like she ain't a child no more. She a grown ass person. So like it's rough, man. But it is when you succeed, it's very very joyful. But also in that same deal, when you as a parent fail, it's painful. Like when you see your mistakes and uh, could have or should have done better, and you see the effects of what those mistakes did years later. It's very painful. So yeah, take the time to love them right. I'm not saying gentle parenting. No, Loki's not a gentle parent, man. But there's a lot of times we make decisions in haste, and later we regret them. And a lot of times in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, you really should try this. You knew the answer. You just chose to go with the knee jerk reaction.
Do you got any sons?
No son. Well, I have a stepson, but no sons born of me. My stepson was pretty. He was a young adult when I came into his life.
I was going to say, would you want your kids to follow in your footsteps?
Um, I explained to my daughter one time. I told her, I said, "Baby girl, this is where your dad is at in life, and do you know what that means?" And she goes, "That's the level that I'm supposed to surpass." And I told her, "No, I've already done all of this work. This is the level you start at. Your only option is to go higher, further, better than your dad has ever done." So the hardest thing is learning from your parents all the footsteps they took, because you have to
Mhm.
kind of learn some stuff yourself. But I don't necessarily want her to follow in my footsteps. I want her to do better. Like, one of the things I also told her, like, she's had the opportunity to have a dream job that wasn't going to pay jack, or a job she could qualify for that was going to pay all the world. And I'm not a hippie, but I'm like, follow your dreams, because there's nothing worse to work for 20, 30 years to realize you really don't enjoy what you're doing. You were just good at it. So I want her to forge her own paths and lean on me for any lessons, or any lessons, advice, or strength she needs to get to that place.
So, is it true that you are a grandpa or a grandfather?
I am. My stepson has provided us with four grandbabies, one of which is probably about as tall as you, Stephen.
Um,
Um, yeah, he's.
I'm 5'9".
I was about to say, I think he's 5'9", and he's only 15.
Jesus, he's going to be taller than me.
Yes, he is. And so we've got them all the way ranging down to the youngest one is probably about to turn one, or just turned one, somewhere around there. But yeah,
So, like, do all the kids and grandkids come to you for the holidays, or like, what do the holidays look like for you guys?
we do. A lot of times we used to do the holidays. This last year we didn't do any holidays. We just kind of took a break and did us. But we do Thanksgivings, Christmas, Easter's. We'll do, Thanksgiving is usually the biggest one, because that's I've got family here in Houston as well. So, my sister lives here in Houston. A couple of my cousins I grew up with in Abilene live here in Houston. And the people that have become my family here. And we
Mhm.
open the house. I'll break out the pit. We'll smoke a brisket. My wife will cook a turkey. We'll probably have ham. Like if you leave the house hungry, it was your fault, because there's plenty to go around. Um, we have a feast. And Thanksgiving is usually our biggest one. Christmas is closer knit. The grandkids will come over to
Mhm.
come get their presents. The kids will come over. My sister and my nephew will pull up, but it's probably, I think one Thanksgiving there was 40 people in my house,
Oh,
and then
wow.
for the same Christmas, probably about 10 people in the house. So yeah, it's definitely a smaller batch during Christmas. But yeah, I enjoy it. So, because that's what my family did. And man, growing up, family, it was, we were going from grandma's house to auntie's house to uncle's house. There was food at every one of them, cakes and pies at every one of them.
Nice.
And and it's funny because some of those aunties, and folks that were the older generation, like my parents' age, that are still with us now, they're not hosting anymore. So when I host, they've come as far from Dallas, and I know you don't know about Texas. Dallas is like a good 3 hour trip, all highway. Like so, you
We're going to
80
get into
miles
that
an
later.
hour, and you're at 3 hours later, right? And from other cities to come, and they love it because it feels that same vibe of those family cookings that we used to do. So
Mhm.
that they used to do actually. So and I would show up and eat all the shit and get my
So
fat boy
you're
on.
so you're married. How did you meet your wife?
Hmm. So along amongst a lot of my many talents that you know of, I don't know if you
Mhm.
knew. I used to be an MMA fighter
I
out
never
of
knew that
Georgia.
actually.
Uh, I was a pro MMA fighter. I
Badass.
was and a martial arts instructor. Well, my stepdaughter's father wanted her to find something that had some discipline, some structure, and wanted her to be able
Mhm.
to take care of herself. Well, they're divorced at this time, right? So
Okay.
he starts taking his daughter and enrolls her into this class, but he's not the best person in the world. Great
Mhm.
intentions, no follow through, and he doesn't even know how to talk to people right. Like it's just a whole list of things. So, anyways, he pretty much bullied her mom to start dropping her off at class. And when she
Mhm.
saw me in class, she was like, I want that. So she actively pursued me while I was teaching her daughter martial arts. And that's how we met.
So I've heard a lot about Houston. Like I've been doing my studying coming up to this interview. Is Houston really as wild as they say it is out there?
It can be, bro. I mean, it's a metro, like, it's a
Mhm.
huge city, and like any other huge city, LA, New York, Atlanta, you've got every walk of life that you want. You've got the biggest of parties, uh, you know, uh, racing, there's the food culture, like
Mhm.
anything, like Houston can cover all aspects. So yeah, it's probably as wild as you've ever heard and some. I mean, think about it. You like the Bun B's, the UGKs, the Paul Walls, like
Yeah. Shadow
they're
Paul
all
Wall.
they're all out of the H Town area.
Yep.
Beaumont's not H Town, but it's all of that happens here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it can be like that.
Okay, so hopefully you can track with me. This may seem like a stupid question, but like when you think of New York, you think like five boroughs like Manhattan, Queens, stuff like that, right?
Right, right.
Does does Texas have different boroughs like New York does, like Dallas,
Well, we
Houston?
don't have boroughs, and Dallas and Houston would be horrible examples because that New York and that's all part of that whole metro scene. We have our own
Okay.
metro. So like in Houston, we have Third Ward, Fifth Ward, we have that Nauf, we have that SWAT, the A Leaf, Southwest A Leaf, Texas. We got different areas, but not all of them were built on projects. Like you talk about the boroughs, those are projects. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
A lot of them were built off a project. That's not necessarily. Now a lot of them had a lot of these had lower income housing, but it's not the same.
All
It's
right.
similar. It's parallel. It would be the Texas version, I guess you could call it, but it's not the same. I mean, um, but yeah, you have structures like that anywhere you go, though.
How old were you when you finally entered into the military?
I was 17. Yeah, because
Oh,
I got in
wow.
my junior year. So at the end of my junior year, I went to basic training for that was what I did for the summer. I came back. I want to say half. Wait, a month, maybe a little less than a month before having to start school. And then I went back to school, did that year, and graduated, walked across the stage, and then went to to AIT.
What branch of military were you in?
Army, whore.
I thought you were a Navy guy, like boss man.
No, no, no. Only you have sweet cheeks in this conversation, bro.
Did you ever like get shipped out or serve anywhere?
The only thing I would have considered to that question would probably be Kuwait, but it wasn't like I went to the front lines and was watching things burn or things blow or go boom.
Mhm.
Nothing like that. So no, I'm not a wartime vet. I do not have a patch on my combat side. And for all the vets, they'll know what that means.
I have no idea what that means. So,
So
um,
you have your one
mhm.
patch unit, and it's on your left side, and you wear that regardless. Now, if you go to a combat zone, you're deployed into combat. That whatever unit you're serving in, you get that patch on your right side.
Okay. Um,
Or is that backwards? I mean, God, it's been since 2001. I got out in '01.
thank you for your service. I much respect and appreciate it.
It was I appreciate that, but it was a job, bro. And for the people, I can't get people to yell at me and blah blah. Bro, it was probably one of the easiest jobs. I mean, no, you worked your ass off. It was physically demanding. Um, you learned to operate under stress, so stress really didn't get you all like, oh my God, I can't do this. I need a timeout. Um, you knew what your schedule was. You knew when you had to wake up. You knew when you had to be to work. You pretty much knew what your job was for any given period of time. Like it was a great job. Like it was a great job. Honestly, there's times I look at myself and go, why did I get big headed and think I could do better? I should have kept my ass in there, not because I couldn't do things, but man, it was a job to me in my mind that makes more sense. When I first got out and dealing with civilians and people like, oh, you can't do that. That's not part of your job. No, my job is to get this done. This is part of getting that done. And if you're not going to do it, I got to get it done because that was my military and mentality. And people would feel like I was pissing on their shoes because I'm just trying to get the mission done. I didn't look for credit. I wouldn't go, hey, I did all of it. I just time to get the job done, bro. And it took me a while to adjust to civilian life. I didn't much like it at first. I didn't like people in the way they thought.
Um, a lot of the motorcycle community comes from military background. When
Yeah.
you came out of the military, is that right where you went to, or how did you find your way into the motorcycle community?
No, I find let's see. Ooh, I got out in 2001. When I was in the MC community, I had patched in 2012. Um, so yeah, no, there was a long streak in there. And actually, funny enough, that's kind of one of the things that sparked my wife's and my relationship. Because when I moved to Houston, I had little next to nothing,
Mhm.
and I started building myself up. And next thing you know, I have a martial arts school with my wife's assistance. I ended up opening a security company. I was I remember one, and I was like, man, she heard me saying one time, I was like, I'm gonna get a bike, and she was like, what's the big deal? Like, because I just kept every time I see a motorcycle, I was like, I'm gonna get a bike. And I grew up on cruisers. I'd never had owned a crotch rocket, and I
Mhm.
was like, that was ooh shit, that was 2010ish, I guess. So when she was like, what's the big deal? And I was like, yeah, I can't explain it. So we went to a party with some friends at we had a meet and greet at a bar
Mhm.
that all of us would go to. And this wasn't biker community, it was just some friends. And this guy pulls up on a bike, and I was like, dude, do me a favor, man. And he was on a Gixxer 1000. So just take her down to a couple of lights, man. Do you turn, bring her back, you know? And I was like, but don't scare the shit out of her because I'm trying to convince her I need a bike, not scare the shit out of her for never riding again. And he was like, yeah, I bet, no problem. I got you. This motherfucker hit the street and meow. I was like, well,
There goes
that
that.
would that there goes that conversation. Now I'm just gonna have to fight it. Like I'm just gonna have to do it and be like, fuck it, you're gonna have to live with it, right? But they come back and she comes and gets off the bike and she's taking the helmet off and she walks and looks into me and goes, "You're getting a bike." And I was like, "Yeah, I know I'm getting a bike." And she's like, "No, you don't understand. I got some money coming in. You're getting a bike sooner than you think." And I was like, "No, yeah, okay, whatever." And she
So what
was
was
like,
Loki's very first bike?
"Well, it wasn't my first bike." Well, we haven't got there. Let me finish this part yet. So I was like, "Yeah, whatever." One day I'm at work and she was like, "Did you find a bike?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." She goes, "Oh, the money's in." I mean, I typed real quick. I was like, "Yeah, I was looking at this, and this." I hadn't been looking at bikes. And we went and test rode a fucking Hayabusa. And at first, I was like, I don't know if I want the Hayabusa. I've heard all the bad stories. I think I just need to get me a little Gixxer 750 or 1000.
Mhm.
And I rode that Busa, and I remember I twisted that throttle and that ass and sped off. And I was like, "Okay, girl, I'm listening. You'll win that conversation. I'm not gonna show that I got bigger nuts than you." And I rode it back and fell in love with that bike. And dude, first couple of years of our relationship was riding everywhere. I ended up buying her a bike. She bought that bike. I ended up buying her a bike. Actually, I bought her a bike and a car. Shit. Two cars now. Damn. Anyways, it just dawned on me. Don't mind me. So anyway, but yeah, first couple of years. And I had friends that, and I'll segue back to your question, sir. I had a friend that interested me in riding bikes is how I got to riding motorcycles.
Mhm.
And I remember we rode all the way back to Abilene because he lives in Abilene today. And that's a 6 hour trip for us, not including gas stops. And she only had like 100-mile tank on hers. So, it took a little bit. So we get to Abilene and we ride to Snyder, which is another hour from Abilene. And my friend rides with us there, but he's always, "Eh." But I've been trying to get him to ride from Abilene to here. And he's like, "Dude, I've never ridden out of town." I'm like, "Are you telling me you and I started riding in high school? And my wife, who just learned how to ride, has taken a longer trip than you?" But let me tell you about the guy that got me into riding, because this was way back in the days that we didn't know nut to butt wasn't cool. But I learned as a young age I'm a control freak. So I get on his bike and he just tear off, and I'm like, it's not that I don't mind going fast, but I don't like being in the back seat while we're going fast. So I was telling my dad I want a bike, and my dad was a biker. So the first bike he ever came home, and I'll deny this till the day I lie. I mean, die. So, we're gonna edit this part of the video. Uh, was a Honda Matic 400. It literally had two gears, no clutch. What would have been the clutch was an emergency brake, so you could actually lock it, e-brake. Then it had the regular brakes. The shifter was, like I said, two gears, low and high. And for what it was a very smooth bike, but like it never went anywhere. So I think I owned that for like a month or so, and then a- I bought a bike that if I could, I would probably find and rebuild today, which was a Kawasaki KZ 650, which the KZ series is what the chip spikes were.
Mhm.
The KZ platform is noted to being the grandfather for crotch rockets today. And I had this bike. It was a naked bike, basically. Almost, it was too big to be called a cafe racer, but it had that straight seat on it like a cafe would.
Mhm.
and I customized it. This is probably why I even like road glides or no glides today, is because I put a fixed fairing on it. I put saddlebags and a trunk on it. And let me tell you how old this was. I had way back, this would have been 92, 91, 92. So it started my junior year because I had my license. Oh, no, it started my sophomore, the end of my sophomore year, second half of my sophomore year. No, junior year, because 16. I turned 16 in June. So I got my driver's license, and then a month and a day after I got my driver's license, I got my motorcycle endorsement, and I was on the Honda. I rode that through part of the year, got rid of it, got the KZ650, went to basic, came back, rode it through my senior year. And we were one of three people out of the two high schools. We were one of three, or my boy and I were two of the three people, and the other one was at the other campus that rode motorcycles to high school. So that gave us a lot of clout. Um, and I took that KZ650. Even after I came back from AIT, I went to Arizona, and that was my first road trip because I went from Abilene, Texas, all the way down 20 till it hits I-10 in El Paso, and then cuts back up to Phoenix, Arizona. But that was definitely one of my favorite bikes I've ever owned.
Coincidentally enough, you mentioned you and your wife getting the Hayabusa. I was looking through, I forget if it was a picture or video I came across the other day of a white Busa sitting in your garage. Is that the same bike?
That is the bike.
That thing's badass.
And that thing is so part of it. Hasn't ran it a couple of years. I need to tear it completely down and rebuild it. But if I go to open it up and find out, let's say it's got a cracked block or something,
Mm-hmm.
that is so part of my marriage that my wife is like, I don't give a damn. You can't sell that bike. You can, I can cut it in half and mount it on the wall as a picture piece before I can sell that bike. I remember when we were getting married, it was important to me because I hadn't been married before. She'd had one marriage. Most of my
Mm-hmm.
friends have been married, divorced 3 or 4 times. I was like, when I get married, it's one time, one and done.
Right.
So I didn't get married late until 35. Um, and uh, I wanted a real wedding, like, me standing at the altar. The guys wore tuxes with the tails. Yes, we had tails. She had her princess, the dress of her dreams. She wanted to be a princess with the long veil and the whole nine. Like, she was a princess. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I would have prepared for this part because I could have showed some pictures of that. It was awesome. Um, and but I couldn't afford a wedding. At least I didn't think I could. Not extravagant as we did it, and it was a very nice wedding. Um, I was gonna sell the Busa so I could afford her dress.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first fight we ever had. And it
That's
wasn't
awesome.
she was mad that I was going to get rid of the Busa for any reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did get rid of the Busa to say the least. And what was cool is because uh, at the head table, after you get married, you come into the reception and they introduce you as Mr. and Mrs. blah blah blah.
Yep.
On uh, my end of the table was the Busa, and on her end of the table was her bike. And her
That's
bike,
awesome.
we used her bike riding from the actual wedding hall, and we rode it into the reception hall. She was side saddle with her big dress. We took the veil part off, but she still had this big poofy dress. I was worried about it getting caught in the bike. And I wish I could, if I did, like I said, if I'd have planned that question in my head, I would have set up where I could do a slideshow and show that picture because it was the first time she actually smiled during that wedding. We Normally it's the guys all
That's
drunk and
awesome.
hungover trying to get there. Oh no, her mom showed up, messed it up. She got drunk. I'm over there trying to direct traffic, and hopefully, thank God, one of my homeboys was the DJ because he kept everybody on time. I had another homeboy that when I was like, I need this happening, he would be on it. You know what I mean? So thank God because we were on it. But that whole wedding, she was like, I'm really getting married. I'm getting married. When I had her side saddle on that motorcycle, that was the first time you saw at her face. She looks like a damn porcelain doll, but her face, that was she was just. So yeah.
I was gonna say, I think I came across a few of your wedding photos of you in an army outfit, her in a dress, and you guys were like sitting or leaning on the busa.
There was one with the both bikes are on either side of us. If it
Mm-hmm.
was our wedding, photos, the one that I think that we're leaning on the Busa was probably Florida for Bike Week, I think.
Okay. Let me see here for a second. Uh, so does Houston have? Oh, I know what I want to ask you. When did you guys get the road glide? Okay, I can't hear you.
Uh, I hit the mute button trying to see something. Anyways,
When did you guys get the road glide?
2015. I got it. It's a 2011 Road Glide CVO, and I got it in 2015. At the time, I was in a club. We were going to Lone Star Rally, and I'd always been looking at some. And I don't remember how my wife and I got to the conversation, or if I was talking to somebody, but she was like, "Well, you better get it before your knees get too bad to hold that thing up because it's a big bike." And I was like, "Are you serious?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." So I went to seriously looking for one. And before everybody goes, "Oh, you got the CVO, you bougie bastard," and blah 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 blah. And once you have one, yeah, you become bougie. But I got it because I was online looking for a road glide, and this was 15, so the 14s had just came out. Everybody was getting the new body style, and I didn't think I didn't think, I should have stopped thinking that my credit was going to be good enough to get a brand new road glide. And I was looking for a used one, and every one of my body style, year model and everything, if it wasn't a CVO, they wanted 15 grand for it, if not a little more. And if it was a CVO, they wanted 20 grand for it. So, well, real no, they were wanting 20 for the regulars and like 23, 25 for CVOs. And I found a private seller that had a CVO and had all the maintenance records and all this other stuff. And I hit my bank up. Oh, did I lose you? You look frozen there. Uh-oh, I think we froze out. I don't know if this is still recording. uh, Let me hit you on the back channel and see if you're still there.
Loki, can you
Yep,
hear me?
there we go. I can hear you now. You froze on me there for a second.
Can I check one too?
Yep, I got you.
Okay. My Wi-Fi cut out there. I apologize.
No worries, no worries. So either way, all the road glides that we're finding, were, when I say the base models were running for like 15 to $20,000. The CVOs were running from 23 to $25,000, and I found a CVO for 15 grand.
Mhm.
What do you think what would you do, right? So I called my bank about this CVO, and they're like, "No, no, Mr. Turnerhill, we can only give you like $11,000 for that." And I was like, "Are you looking up the right model number?" They were like, "Yeah, this." And then they told me the nomenclature. I was like, "No, no, no, you need that, but you need to add RUSE on the back of it." And I told her, and when she did that, you heard her tap, 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 tap. She was like, huh, they only want 15 for it? I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, oh, we'll even cover your tax title license. Go pick it up. I was like, well, it's a private seller. Y'all gonna send him a check? She goes, yeah, we'll send him a check. Just get the information. So I got his information. I remember I called him. I was like, hey, the bank has approved me. They'll send you a check in the mail. It'll probably take 2 or 3 days, and that's fine. He was like, yeah, that's fine. And I remember getting off the phone with him, getting his information, getting it back to the bank. The next day, the dude calls me. I'm at work and goes, my wife says your check came through. And I was like, really? Like, I thought it wouldn't have been till like Thursday, Friday. It's like a Tuesday. And
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, yeah, no. I said, so I can come pick it. No, it wasn't. It was a Wednesday when that check landed. I was like, well, if I can, I'll come out tomorrow to pick it up. He's like, I'm out of town. I was like, okay, I don't want to be at your house and it's just your wife. Like, yeah, I'll wait. He goes, you know what? Nah, I kind of trust you. You'll be all right. So I'll make sure she has it outside for you when you get there. Just give me a call. Blah blah blah. We'll go through everything. And I drove to Austin again. Stephen, not close. It's 2.5 hours away. Everything
Okay.
in Texas is far. And that's 2.5 hours away from the city. I still get probably about 30 minutes to get out of town. Just because you always ask Texas questions, bro. But anyways, I go out there, and my friend, I took off work the next day. My friend, he took off work because I was like, I need to go pick this up. He was in the club with me, by the way. So he and his old lady literally drive me to Austin to this guy's house on the opposite side of Austin. Now, on top of all that, oh God, it's a beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood. Like this guy probably bought this thing in cash and then dumped another 5 grand into it before he ever wrote it one time. Um, and showed up. Oh my God, instantly fell in love and literally rode back that Thursday and packed my shit for Lone Star, and we took off and went to Lone Star. Like I wrote it from Austin. We came back, packed it up, wait for everybody else to show up at my house, and we rode back down to Lone Star. It was awesome. But that was 2015 when I got that.
All right, so you're a road glide guy. Just a quick side question on that. What do you think of like the older model with like the dual headlights, the rounded bat wing, compared to the new single headlight and the more pointier, sharper bat wing on it?
Um, well, you mean the shark nose because the Batwings is street glide, but I have the dual headlight. I
I like the
prefer
dual
the
headlight
dual
better.
headlight. I prefer the dual headlight over the Cyclops. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's way too much detail for something that should have been kept simple. But
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to get a demographic involved that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to say though, when I saw the for the first time the STCVO, um, or the CVOST, whatever however I think it's STCVO, whatever. Um, Side by side next to a regular one, the fairing to me in my eyes, and I could be wrong, and everybody's like, I don't know, nobody's giving me a definitive, but I want to say that with the ST, the fairing's like that much lower, like
Mm-hmm.
three quarters of an inch, maybe an inch lower. And when I see it in that configuration, no backrest, just the saddlebags and the solo seat, I kind of forget about the whole wraparound, like it flows.
Yeah.
But that when I see it in its normal configuration and it seems that the fairing's a little bit higher, it just goes, "Hi, how you doing?" And it's like, so yeah, that's what I prefer the look of the older ones because
Mm-hmm.
it was simple. It was not trying to be like some of these manufacturers. I'm not a purely Harley guy. I'm not a
Yeah.
hardcore Harley guy. I
Okay.
like bikes. If I could learn how to do a burnout donut while on a wheelie and flipping you off on a Vespa, I would own a Vespa just so I could have the bragging rights that I did it on a Vespa. I will say on most cruisers, like your typical cruiser, I like Harley more than most other brands out there, but there's a couple of them out there that I would definitely want to put in my garage. I would motorcycles would be Pokemons to me. I'd be trying to catch them all. Like, but you could only ride one bike, but I could ride one today, one tomorrow, one at this event, come home and pick up this one and ride this one to the next one. Like, yeah, I can only ride one, but I don't get on I wouldn't get on a Gixxer 750 to ride from here to New York. Yes, because
Yeah,
that's not what but I also don't want to get on my road glide talking about how fast I was going because my favorite thing is when my Harley goes, "Oh man, I was doing 100, I was doing 120." On the Busa, man, cruising speeds 160. Like you could
yeah,
literally cruise at 160 with one hand leaning on the tank like this, like do 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 do, and it's cool. Like, but you're not gonna do that on my road glide. You know what I mean? That
right.
thing gets sketchy at 100 and 120. You know what I mean? So I
So,
would definitely have hell I would have what's the I think it's a Honda Africa with the y'all the bike people y'all know the African bike, the cross country bike. Like I would love to have one of those to
oh, I know
go
what you're talking about. Yeah,
off roading. African Twin or something like that. It escapes my mind right now. But yeah, I would love to have one of those just to go touring across country. Well, Harley's got the Panamera, what not Panamera? That's a that's a Porsche. But yeah, either way, I'm scaping right now. But anyways, like yeah, if I were to have between the two, I would go get that Honda. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be a Harley. But it is the Harley version is the bike in Harley House videos where you saw me swinging my
yeah.
feet because that bike sits so high. Yeah, it's a nice bike, but it's not that Honda.
It's funny, you got my brain kind of falling down the hole right now. Because you mentioned the word Vespa. What do you think of the Harley Shock, the electric one?
The I've ridden one, and when I say when you twist that throttle, holy dear God.
Mm-hmm,
But it's the same thing I think about most electrics vehicles, period.
mm-hmm,
Yes, they're going to be fast as shit. If I was out here racing people for money, I would definitely try to be on electric. But they're electrics, they just don't have the same soul. They don't have the heartbeat of gasoline.
mm-hmm,
They don't catch you in the moment. They get you places, but they don't let you live that journey getting to those places.
mm-hmm,
And I used to have my Japanese bikes because I grew up on cruisers, but I never owned a Harley until I owned my father's Softail.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, two wheels is two wheels, man. But I remember that it was an Evo at 80, not even an 88, just an 80. That's for the bike people. Um, and had the 14-inch apes on it, and backrest and black and chrome everywhere. And that just something about that it intoxicated you in a way that my Busa doesn't. But what my Busa gives me is the way I go through corners and I can get from 0 to 60, and it's a part of you, like you feel it, like you and the bike become one. Electric is just like you look up and, oh, I'm going fast, but it's not like you're part of the journey. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
just you're sitting on top of it and going, not involved in it.
You mentioned the word journey. What is the longest ride you've ever done from point A to point B?
In one sitting or like
Yeah, like
total?
yeah, like
Just in one
lithium
sitting?
gas and all that, and like just keep going until you get
So
there.
my two longest, which are very close to each other, on the Busa, I went from Houston to Sturgis. We were trying to do 1,500 miles. we got to 1,024.
Mhm.
And even the guy that was like, we had a whole pack with us, and most of, oh, can we stop? Blah, blah, and they were complaining. One guy with me was like, "Let's go, we got this," and we were
Mhm.
kicking ass. But after we hit 1,000, man, I remember we passed a hotel, and he comes in real close, bar to bar. It was like, you see that hotel back there? And it was a dive of a hotel. Like usually you're buying that to go for somebody you met at the club for a couple of, you need 30 minutes
Mhm.
in. He's like, I'll pay for it if we can stay there. I said, bet. And like both of us by that time were hurting our ass off. And I say recently, I think they're at their third annual, about to do the fourth annual. But at their first annual, I went to Hogs and Heat, and I
Mhm.
left here and I rode road glide from here to going to Winslow, Arizona for Kinks and Braps Hogs and Heat.
Mhm.
And matter of fact, make sure you throw that link in the description below so everybody can know how to go to Hogs and Heat. Um, but I did 1,015 there, and actually I was 20 miles short of that. I was 20. I did 23 more miles, so 15. Like I was 12 miles short of a full 1,000 miles, and
Mhm.
people have been watching me on and off on live because live TikTok
I
live
caught
kept
some of
kicking me
that.
off. Yeah, they kept kicking me off because I was showing me riding, right? Because they just changed the rules or whatever. But everybody was like, blah, 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 blah. And I remember, man, I plummet. Like I got to a truck stop and I was like, dude, I'm going to the truck stop. I'm gonna buy some $80 pants and $100 jacket, and I'm gonna sleep on my bike. And no, brothers was not having that. So they said they were coming to get me. And and that was a working class hero. I was still about 2 hours away from 2 or 3 hours away from Hogs and Heat. And he's like, I'm coming to get you.
Mhm.
And at my mind, I was like, look, I failed to make the whole 1,000 miles, at least 1,000 miles. So I'm just going to crash here anyway. And he was like, no, I'm coming to get you. I said, okay, find something, close to this area, because at least let me get that 1,000 miles. And he found a place that put me at 1,015 miles total for the ride for the day. And
Nice.
I went there and I showed up there, and working class was there with his trailer. And there's some stories I will not tell here. Actually, I won't tell. If you know, if you know, you know. If you were there and knew how that was such a bad idea, but it still worked out because, well, brothers. Brother. Sorry, just had to. It just worked out, man. And he picked me up. We put my shit in the trailer. They took me back to Kink's house, man. Who Kink had an RV waiting for me.
Nice.
I was able to pull my shit out. I sat out. We all sat out and had a couple of drinks and chilled out for a little bit. And I think everybody dwindled down till it was just damn it Don, like, and me sitting on the patio, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna pass out. So it's like I finally pass out, and matter of fact, woke up the next. Well, I didn't wake up the next day. They were calling me, asking me why I wasn't at the ride, and I was like, I was gonna intentionally sleep in, but they were not having that either. And I will say this, Demon, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Uh, and all y'all that were involved, I love you guys, man. It was an amazing experience. But those are my two longest rides. The first one I did with the pack, and the second one I did solo. Everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna go," and when it was the day to go, crickets.
um, you mentioned the word club earlier in our conversation. Does Houston have a big motorcycle community?
I do that because you preface it with club. We have a humongous motorcycle community. We also have a very very large club community. Um, but yeah, there's a and as much as like in Houston, all the roads are straight, but don't get it twisted. There's some fun roads to actually get out here and ride, especially in the backwoods, if you know how to
Hmm.
get to. But yeah, there's riders of all types. I It's funny. I see a whole bunch of dudes on Boosas. They're usually 50 years and older,
Wow.
riding like challenging roads, and they, Ducatis and stuff. Hell, we have even mini bike culture. Like you could get a mini bike, like a Grom or
Mhm.
something, and there's a crew that you can ride with. And right now, I guess it's starting to get popular. But the one of the first videos I saw of it was a guy riding one of those electric unicycles in traffic. That was
Mhm.
here in Houston, 10 miles from my house. So yeah, no, we have a big motorcycle as a whole culture. Whether you're yuppie riding guy,
Mhm.
uh, your traditional motorcycle type of crowds. Hell, we have, if you know, you know, we've got a group of people on Montrose. If you don't want to know what Montrose, we're not going to go into that right here, right now.
Okay.
But if y'all want to know, go. Hey, what is Montrose in Houston, Texas, famous for? We've even got a crowd that rides in Montrose. Like whatever you decide, what type of group you want to be with, there's somebody riding like that in Houston.
Um, you can pass on this next question if you want, but since you come from that lifestyle and that community, what do you
100%.
think of these people getting on social media and reporting on club issues from things that they're not part of?
Um, so if it's something it's public already, it's public. And if you're really your platform is really news media, it's just that. And with as many people that put their business out there that shouldn't be out there in the first place, or do some really dumb shit to get your business out there, well then your business is just out there. Somebody's just going to monetize
Hmm.
that. So I don't hate. Will you get me to get into that conversation? Probably not, because it's not my personal place, but I am not a news media outlet. Prime example, on a private conversation, you and I talked about people that I probably am not going to deal with.
Yep.
So I wouldn't get into that conversation, and I'm not going to go, oh, well, let me go talk with that person. It's not my business, and I don't care.
Correct.
Um, and here's the deal: the biggest deal is if, say, you want uh some of these people to fail. The only way you would get them to fail is stop complaining about it. Just don't watch their shit. If people
Hmm.
don't want them to succeed, stop giving them success. And that's the and hey, Black Dragon, you can use that one for a soundbite, bro. Like, hey, if you want him to fail, stop watching his shit. And he throws in that boom and throws his bike book. His commercial format that he does. But anyways, like real shit. Like if it wasn't already public knowledge, then they can't report on it, right? They're
Hmm.
not speaking into clubhouses and saying who got a dotted I or anything like that, or who was doing what at the clubhouse. Matter of fact, most of those guys, if it was one of those, if you weren't there, then it never happened type of things. Those
Right.
things don't come out. But once it hits the news media, well, it's in the news media. So that's just news media at that point in time. But you, as an individual, can choose to participate or not participate.
Facts.
And that's how I look at it. And honestly, a lot of times, because I'm not in the club world anymore, I just don't participate. Like, um, people that I fuck with, I'll go show them love and respect and all that. But even when they get onto stuff that I don't do or I don't really agree with, I don't go voicing my opinion. I just quietly
Hmm.
back my ass out of the room because I've got so many other things to focus on to worry about what anybody else is doing outside of how it affects me personally.
Now, you said you're not part of the club world anymore. You don't participate. But what does the real brotherhood look like to Loki?
See, that's what drew me to even club world is because that brotherhood that I got in the military. Like
Hmm.
I was in a place where we all came from different walks of life. And, I'll be flat out honest. Like my mom was very racist. And
Hmm.
she would tell you she was racist. I came with people of your color, your fair skin that were
Hmm.
coming from racist backgrounds. And we learned really quick that we didn't survive without one of each other. We didn't make we didn't do our jobs or make our money without one of each other. And hell, like we might not live without one of or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Um, and those are that hits different when your real existence relies on somebody else's actions as well as your own, and
Hmm.
vice versa. There's it relies on your actions and theirs. Um, and that hits different. So, uh, just being able to call you at 4 o'clock in the morning, okay, that's a really good friend. Um, but already knowing something's going down and I've been sitting with you and we look up and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, that's different.
Hmm.
And a real brother will probably go a lot further across the line for you. I always tell people like if you're my brother and I know you're in the wrong, I see you in the wrong. I'm gonna come up to you quietly, nonchalant, and be like, "Are you sure?" And if you're like, "I'm sure," well, then I'm gonna stand there with you. But also, as a brother, on the flip side of that, if let's put me in that situation, you walk up to me and was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure," but I'm also look at you like, "I also know I'm fucking up. Please don't get involved in this because I don't need you
Hmm.
in the middle of my shit. This is my shit storm." And I wasn't righteous. I just felt like being an ass today. Um, I want you, like, I need to let you know that. Like, I know you're going to stand with me one way or another. And hell, you might feel froggy and be like, yeah, you know what? I feel like an ass today. So you stand with me anyways. Or you might look at me and be like, hey, I got you. Let me diffuse this. Like it's so much deeper. But most people are like, oh, I would never do that. If my brother's wrong, I gotta go. No, if he's think about it. Think about how many brothers and cousins you hear and conversate that like they could be arguing and bickering, but don't be an outsider trying to calm the situation down, let alone talk shit about the situation, because those two
Hmm.
brothers will turn on you in a heartbeat because that is their family.
Hmm.
But being an outsider in like that, you're the problem. I don't care what was going on before that, you're the problem. I loved it when I was in the military, when I was at Fort Sill. I think it was called Parachute In. Somebody in the comments will remind me. But Fort Sill, Oklahoma, there was a bar and there was parachutes all in the ceiling. So that's why I wanted to say it was called Parachute In. And
Hmm.
Marines trained there as well. So the Army and Marines would always show up and there was always going to be a fight. At the end of the fight, it was always going to be like, okay, you good? I'm good. Are you good? You good? You gonna be back next week? Yeah, okay, we'll see you next week. Like it was just part of our routine. Like it was expected,
Hmm.
right? But if somebody from the outside was like, we're here, you and we're ready to fight, and then this outsider's like, oh, you guys should do this. Y'all always come over here and fight. We'd be like, that guy had a problem because he try to get in between brothers. So yeah, I guess I'm a little skewed than most with brotherhood, and what people consider brotherhood nowadays. But it is what it is.
It's when you just kind of triggered a memory. It was God. This conversation between us was probably at least 2 or 3 years ago. And I said to you, like, I look up to you like a bro. Like, if something was to happen, you have a wife and kids to go home to. Like, I would take that charge and sit in a heartbeat. And you said, nah, we bros, we go down together. Like, a brother doesn't do that. Either that or we don't get into it at all. Like, and you also told me, like, a real bro would never put you in that situation. And that's something I've always held in the back of my memory. Like, still, that's something that hits home for me. Um, let's kind of go back to a lighthearted conversation. When you out riding or even cruising in the car, what does your playlist look like?
Whether it's the car or the bike, dude, there's a wide range. I'll say it now just to get it out there. Country fans, I'm sorry, I'm not playing that much country. But I might be playing rock, classic rock, thrash, metal, techno,
Mhm,
R&B, hip hop, rap, jazz, blues. I will say this: if you ever catch me on the motorcycle, pay attention to the music I'm listening to, because that's going to determine what type of ride we're about to have. And
mhm,
so if you hear like some EDM with like some extremely, some extreme trance, and or I mean transitions, and some just drop, just some mega, you know jump you out of your pants drops, hold on, because we about to go riding. But if I show up and I got some jazz playing on my playlist, man, it's gonna be a chill day. We're just gonna kind of hang out and smell the roses. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s. There wasn't, like, especially in small towns, there wasn't a lot of black radio stations. So I
mhm,
grew up listening to things like Duran Duran and Motley Crue, and hell, one of my first tapes I ever owned was Rat. But one of the first albums I owned was Houdini, and oh God, what was the other one? Wasn't BC Boys, it was Boogie Boys.
mhm.
Boogie Boys. So yeah, those, like, and yeah. So I listen to a lot of different things. I think, and I say I listen to a lot of things. When I see my daughter's playlist, I'm like, shit, I don't listen to nothing. But yeah, I do listen to a wide range of stuff.
Who is Loki's favorite band or artist?
Oh my God, that's a hard one. One of my top tens would be absolutely be BB King. Um, at one point in time, I was in a singing group. Another thing you probably don't
Oh,
know.
neat. I never knew that.
Um, and I was what they would call a mimic, because I could imitate damn near any voice I heard, but I really didn't have my own sound. And I was going through it. Girlfriend was cheating with the best friend, and this, that, the other. It was, and I was going through it, and I always listen to music and sing. And I found a song from BB King called "Chains and Things." And when I say
Mhm.
this, I at this point in time, I had never met this man, and he wrote a song about my whole damn life. Like, he got me right up to my 22nd birthday. Like, it's like he knows me, like, personally. What the hell? And I started singing that song, and I heard a side of me that, and no, I'm not gonna sing because I did too many alcohol and other things. Yeah. But back then I wasn't that bad. And but when I even heard me, I called one of my mentors. That was, I mean, when this dude sung, if I wore panties, I would have thrown him on stage.
Mhm.
Um, I called him. and let him hear me sing like from my heart, like I
Yeah.
was mimicking BB King. And when that man like silence on the other side of the phone, like he was just like, holy shit, that that is your voice. Because he was trying to be, I was trying to be a backup singer. He was trying to make me a lead singer of the band that I was in, and or the group, because we weren't a band, we were a group trying to make a boys band type thing, new edition type shit, boys and men type shit. But yeah, when he heard that, he was like, now you're going to be the lead. And
Mhm.
so that's probably one of my top artists of all times. I could go through a whole bunch of people that I just love. Like when they come on, I'm there, and a lot of memories with a lot of different musics, and how they've gotten me through good times and bad. But BB King is probably my top, and I actually got to see him uh, about a year before he passed, still
Oh
playing.
wow.
Oh, that dude was amazing. Still playing, damn near what, he was 80 something, I think. Um, and still rocking the crowd. Like it was an amazing show.
You've told me that you're a Mason. What is a Mason and what is that like?
All right, yeah. So you're about to get all the haters coming to you. You just wanted all the you wanted all the smoke. Uh, Mason is a fraternity. One of our mottos is making good men better men, and how, in my opinion, we make good men better men is through education and mentorship. It is overall a philanthropy. Um, we do a lot. We throughout all the organizations in masonry, we probably raise and donate more money in a day than any other organization out there does in a year.
Hmm.
um, and it's like any fraternity. And I love when, oh, well, they're doing this. And a lot of your old ancient Greek fraternities are based off of some aspect of masonry. They think, oh, y'all, the devil worshippers. No, you have to kind of believe in God to be a Mason. But it is not a religion, because you have to believe in a God, not my God. You don't have
Hmm.
to be a Christian. You could be a Muslim. You could be a Jew. You could be any of the original 12 ancient religions. There's 12 of them. I can't remember all 12 of them, but there's 12 of them, and there's a reason, because that's numbers. And really, honestly, if you're like, well, I believe in the grass god, and you can really show us like some holy text and a real religious practice, you can be a Mason too.
Hmm.
It's We get together and do a lot, whether it's from degrees or our regular business meetings, or raising money, or just getting together to go have drinks. Um, it's a brotherhood, as any fraternity is, um, that you don't have to, well, you do prospect, but it's not the same as you would think as a motorcycle
Hmm.
community. But you have to earn your right to become a Mason. Like any organization out there that you join of your own free will and accord, it's not a recruiting thing. We don't go out and recruit, but you don't have to be like, oh, my grandfather was. I gotta. No, you only have to have the desire to become a Mason. um it has to be in your heart, not ours, not, oh, this is a good guy, I want him to be. It has to be something you want, because if it's something you want, you'll work for it, and if you work for it, you'll cherish it and take care of it, take it on to the next level, and keep it growing. But it's one of the world's oldest fraternities in the nutshell.
So would anyone be allowed to be a Mason, or do you got to know someone that already is?
No, anybody's allowed to be a Mason. As the saying is, to be one, ask one. It's not to be one, know one, or to be one, to be related to one. It's to be one, ask one. And the easiest way to become a Mason, man, is find lodges in your area,
Mhm.
And especially if you're in an area that has multiple lodges, don't just go to the first one and join and immediately, because each lodge has its own personality. So go visit them all and express that you want to join. Most of them all have dinner of some type, whether they order pizzas or they actually have a kitchen and cook dinner. Um, get a chance to meet people and see if these are people you can hang out with for a long time, like for the rest of your life, if
Mhm.
possible. You know, if these are people you get along with, because you might go to one lodge and let's say they're all stuffy lawyers and you're not a lawyer, you're kind of more of a grungy kind of guy.
Mhm.
Well, this lodge over here has probably got a bunch of guys that sit around and drink whiskey and do barbecues all the time, and you might have more fun over there. So you go find a lodge that you really want to be a part of, and you feel like you could be family there, and hang out for a while and get to know everybody and let everybody get to know you. And one day, a petition is going to be put in your face, and you fill it out, and you get some other brothers to sign it for you. And next thing you know, you're on your way to being a Mason. And I will
Um,
say this: it is a man's organization.
yeah.
If you want to be, there are female organizations out there. I'm not even going to get into the different sects of
Mhm.
masonry, what's real, what's fake, and what's recognized and what's not, because that's not this podcast. There's another podcast out for that. Who knows? I might be on there one day, but I will say this, for the type of masonry, if you come and ask me questions, the masonry that I'm a part of, men are Masons. If a woman wants to be involved with the fraternity, she would be an Eastern Star. And that's really just barely. That's not even. That's the ice cap. I just cut off this part. Like you can see all of this, you can't see the whole iceberg. I'm really just touching right here. Um, but yeah, you want to be a Mason? Hell, even if your listeners want to learn about Masonry, feel free to reach out. I'll talk.
One of your Mason brothers is probably going to be coming on the show at some point soon as well.
I look forward to it. Honestly, I wish if it would have been a crazy day as it was today, I was really going to set this whole setup up on my laptop with my whole microphone
Mhm.
like you. I got the fancy mics, and where's it? It's
Well,
right
let's
here.
go.
I got the fancy studio equipment and everything too.
Go.
And I was gonna set it up so it was gonna be on my laptop, but halfway through I was gonna go sit outside and put everything on the back of my truck so that I could do. I won't not gonna spoil it, but he has a certain name, and I was gonna partake in that. You know what I'm saying? So that I just in the middle of the deal be like, yeah, you know what? Hold on, this is what we're doing now. Like, but yeah, no, I got you. I know who.
um, I was going to ask you a question, and my brain just completely went brain fart.
Oh,
Oh,
you
I know
got
what
love
it
in your
was.
what's his mouth. That's why.
Um, I've been watching. Okay, that sounds creepy, but I've been watching you a long, long time. Um, you seem like you've always had this hustle and grind motivation about you. Where does that come from, and what started that mentality for you?
Uh, I didn't grow up poor. I'm not even gonna tell that lie. My father was an officer in the military.
Mhm.
Like, my grandfather grew up depression time, and he raised my family that way. My father didn't just give you shit. Like, he didn't think if he loves you, he just goes buys you all the shit you beg for.
Mhm.
So from a young age, it was always if you want it, figure out how to go get it. And from lemonade stands in front of my grandfather's restaurant to selling the chocolate bars, and that the school fundraisers and stuff.
Mhm.
um, and I've always done that, and because I always be involved with, like, if you employed me on your podcast, and I'm like, there's better ways. I can fix this. I can do this better. And you're like, I like it the way it is. I'll be like, okay, fuck it. And I would go start a podcast just because it's like this idea has to come out and I got to do it and I got to test it out and see if it's going to work. So it always put me in a position that even in out of my comfort zone, I can find comfort in it. And I really, I don't say I have get rich quick schemes. Like I've had some, don't get me wrong, but I do know get rich quick doesn't work. Um, but I'm not just trying to I can't just sit around and do nothing. I've always
Hmm.
done something. I've always had multiple jobs. I've always done, I've always done the most. I work. Dude, the day I retire will be the day after my funeral. Um, so it's once I start doing stuff and I'm enjoying it, then everybody's like, well, you should offer that to the public. Like, and I have some things on the shelves. You know the things I have on the shelves, like the
Hmm.
t-shirts. And it's only on the shelf because I'm trying to push until this is like 100, right? Once this is like really
TexasHotSauceCompany.com.
right? When this gets out of my personal pocket, you might see Loki Wares come back up. You've already
Let's
seen a
go.
couple of hits of Loki Eats popping in there.
I've been
Matter of fact,
seeing.
I was showing my wife yesterday. There's this grill. It's a log base or fire, coals and firewood based grill. It's only $15,000, but you can turn it into a pizza grill. You can turn it into the what's the ones where you can raise and lower. You can turn it into a smoker. You can turn it whatever type of grill you need. This thing would work. And I'm like, and it's stainless steel, so it's not gonna rust. And I was like, yeah, that would be great if I had Loki Eats going strong right now because I would be out there busting ass on Loki Eats. You know what I'm saying? But it's just it's like it's hard for me to come in and just sit down and load the Xbox and play Xbox or sit around and
Hmm.
watch TV all night. Like I don't come home and go, "Oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I can't move. I'm just gonna kick my shoes off." And I can't do that. Like it would drive me nuts. I'd be sitting in the bed like, okay, well, what if I, and then I did, because I can't tell you how many projects that you don't know about, especially computer based, because I'm like, I wonder if I could do this better than that. And I'll go out and try it out and see if it works. And if it works, then great. If not, then, I scrap it, no care. But I went out and did it because my mind started going.
You got an idea cooking in my mind I want to talk to you about after we're done recording tonight. Something that can help
Yeah.
both of us.
Okay.
Um, but next question, who or what motivates Loki?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Loki motivates Loki. Um, but I've had a lot of great people, and like say my pops, I have big shoes to fill. My grandfather, I have big shoes to fill. My mom's father, my grandfather on that side, I have big shoes to fill. And I often look at myself like, what have you done? You ain't done today. Like who are you compared to all of these people that are around you? So I'm like, man, and and they did it with way more against them than I did. So it's just but it at the end of the day, I'm looking at me of like, is that my standard? Have I achieved something? Have I gotten to my goal line? Have I pushed myself to my limits and done better? I learned, especially through martial arts, really, I learned my number one competition is myself. um and if I'm trying to compete with you, like, look, you got the setup, and if I'm competing with you trying to be a broadcaster like you, well, you're
Mm-hmm.
already there. I'm always going to be behind you. So either I'm chasing you, or once I pass you, then what? Like that's just ego tripping. But if I set the bar and I look myself and say, this is where I'm going, this is what I could do, and then I get there and I go, okay, now what? Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go. So the biggest
We
motivation
work together,
usually
we eat
is
together.
so absolutely.
Um, what brought you to social media?
So even before the military, one of my first professional jobs was IT. Like I've always been the
Mhm.
curious guy. Like I got in a lot of trouble because I took my dad's VCR apart and couldn't put it back together. Um, but I also, and I remember that PC was, and it wasn't about like that PC couldn't do what your cell phone does right now.
Mhm.
Um, I there was a problem with it. My dad was complaining about it. He was going to take it to the shop and blah 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 blah, and that it was going to cost money to pay at the shop. And this is probably a $2,000 $3,000 PC. And when I say it wasn't about shit compared to what we got nowadays, but back then it was top notch. And he got home, and I took it apart. And he was like, if you don't put that back together, I'm going to beat your ass. Like I knew I like I wouldn't be here today if I didn't put that thing back
Mhm.
together. I knew. Not only did I put it back together, I fixed it.
Oh, nice.
And he was impressed, and he told the shop that, which was a friend of his, that I put it together. And totally, of course he couldn't take pictures on his cell phone because we didn't have cell phones with cameras back then. Matter of fact, if you had a cell phone, it was in a purse. um, I know I got one down here. I'll find it
What a
later.
purse.
But yeah. Oh, you haven't seen a purse phone? Okay. I know it's not great. Hey, chat. Hold on. What? Stay with me.
What?
I got.
Purse phone?
Yes. This is a real thing way back in the day. We
I
talk
thought
about
you meant
phone.
like your wife carrying your phone in her purse.
No, sir. Oh, don't. Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. Uh, excuse me, chat. My bad. My bad. My bad. But welcome to the '80s, my guy.
What? What the? Did you
Let's
have to
go
find
back.
a? Did you have to find a wire and plug that in somewhere?
No, no, this is like one of the first cellular phones, bro.
I've never seen that before.
And if you catch like an old '80s Mercedes or BMW that has the
Mhm.
lift the console and it's got the phone in it, it is this phone without the purse. They just took it out and mounted all of that into the car. And literally you would pick up the phone, you would dial your number, you would hit the send, and it would call. And this was one of the first cellular phones out there. It was $1,000 a minute. Okay, it wasn't 1,000, but anybody from that era knows that, like, every call, there was no free nights and weekends or none of that. Every call, every minute cost dollars. Like you could end up having a 10-minute conversation and owe a couple of $100.
I'm just curious, how old is that thing? Like, when was it made?
I don't know. I have to go look that up, but this is the Audiovox.
Mhm.
Um, I want to say this was probably late '80s, early '90s.
I was gonna say, because
Sounds.
I'm a '90 baby and I haven't seen that before. I feel like that's probably older than me.
Let me see. Let me let's look it up. Uh,
I'm completely baffled right now.
I said, when were purse phones popular? Bag phones, often referred to purse phones, were popular from the late 1980s through the early 90s, like I said. So
Hmm.
I want to say like 88, 92, somewhere in that time frame is when people had them. And then there was another one that they called a brick, and like it was literally this
I
big,
heard of that.
probably about that wide, about yeah, so about that tall, about that wide, and it had a front on it, and it had earpiece and mouthpiece at the bottom, and literally you would take the antenna, and it was like a big ass antenna. So when you were talking on that phone in a crowd, everybody saw you because the antenna was up here like this. Just say, hey, I'm over here talking on my phone. So yeah, your boy
You
H
know, it's
Town
funny.
Loki has seen. I have seen technology from pre-internet to AOL to what we have today, bro. Like I've watched it all. I've seen consoles from the Apple days to Xboxes.
Okay, so this might make sense to you then, because I'm not calling you old, but this is your generation. Um, you remember MASH, the TV show
Yes.
MASH,
Oh, I love that show. It was my
and
mom.
being that
One of
you
my
were a
shows.
military guy,
Hmm.
they had there was a guy that wore a backpack, and on that backpack was a phone that they could call the helicopter or whatever on. And I was
A phone. That
always
was a
so
radio.
fascinated as a
That
kid
was
seeing that.
That was a radio, so it wasn't a phone, but it was based off of a real military radio. There's a radio out there that pretty much is a backpack, but that was a radio, CB radio.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that
always
wasn't a
thought
phone.
that was a phone.
Nope, nope. It was a CB radio because you would take the mic off, and you would actually, it did have an earpiece and a mouthpiece, or and uh, you and it had a button on the side that when you wanted to break squelch, you push and hold. Then you could talk. You
Mhm.
would let it go so you could hear. But I think that I want to say one of those versions had CB radios is primarily half duplex, which means when I push the button and I'm talking, I can't hear shit. I have to let
Mhm.
go of the button to hear shit. But I want to say that I think I want to say, and I could be wrong, that there was one out there that was considered what we'd call today full duplex. Like even while you're keying on the mic, but most people would shut up while you're talking. You would take turns talking. When you hear them saying over, that means I'm shutting up, you can go. So most people respected the communication.
Um, I've been excited for this question since we were talking about social media and being able to do stuff differently nowadays compared to back then. Where did the shower scene idea come from?
Oh, jeez. You're the only one still talking. Okay, you're not the only one still talking this shower scene. Um, it was funny. I guess Harley and I had already decided that we're gonna do this, and was like, hey, we need to make some social media. And well, Harley House and I, like, we're goofballs together, bro. Like
Mhm.
we we're just gonna have a good time. You know what I'm saying? And he came up with that concept, and there's a lot in that situation I can't talk about because that might bring up people's sore subjects. But um, we decided to do this, and like it was crazy because Harley House is he dude. Harley, when it comes to social media, that dude is fucking brilliant, right? Like I was in his kitchen cooking something, and I watched him walk out and says, hey, I'm gonna go check the mail. And he walks out of the house, goes to the mailbox, comes back into the house. I never saw him filming me. I'm too busy cooking, so I don't know if it was like, in my face, or if he was just on the
Mhm.
shy trying to hold the camera up. I just didn't pay attention because this mother, he made 3 videos just in that walk to the mailbox and back. You know what I
Jesus.
mean? So when he started kicking some ideas, and I'm not okay. Let's run with it. Like, and as soon as he said that I did, and I think he came up with the shower scene, and then I started going into the okay, this is how we're gonna do this whole thing. Like, and as soon as he mentioned it, I was like, I'm in. Let's go. um, we came up with the sour scene. I literally made up the dialogue on the fly.
Mhm.
And, there was so many oh, dude, I wish there was a lot of bloopers that I thought I was filming, and I did not film. Like, the camera didn't start recording, that I wish I woulda got because it was so funny. I remember at one point in time, um, so he had this nice fancy shower that had the regular shower head, but it also had the rain shower, right?
Mhm.
And the rain shower was in a position where it woulda it woulda fell in front of him. Like, I was gonna position me in front of it, in front of the rain shower, and him behind the rain shower so that you could actually see the water falling, right? Like, I really wanted the detail
Mhm.
of the water falling. And as soon as we did that, because we don't have audio equipment, I'm recording off my damn phone type shit, right? Um, the water running and hitting the it just overpowered everything, so we just kinda deleted that cut. So, we tried the next cut. So this time when he pops up behind me, one of the cuts, he pops up behind me, and you know how, like, when you cut your shower off, you hear it go, "Go, go, go, go," and it
Yeah.
drains out and comes out the faucet at the bottom, right? We heard "Grr, grr, grr, grr," in the middle of us doing this cut, and the water dripped. Now this time, now since we don't have the shower, he's standing behind me, and when I say that water hit the middle of his back and dropped down the crack of his ass, and it was cold ass water, and you hear he was like, somebody say hello, so whoa! And it was like, oh, all of us fell the fuck out because now he's got water right because we weren't naked. We had shorts on, right? So
Okay.
now he's got a bead of water running down the back, but his shorts are dry except for where the bead runs. So I mean, we lose it. There's the final cut. If you watch it, when you see him come up behind me, you see me squeeze the soap. The soap pops up about this much. I was trying to squeeze it hard so it would pop up in the frame, but it comes up to like right here and it drops. But if you shut up and listen, you'll hear it. And I could not have done this any better because I had a bucket of water at my feet so I could put my hand in the I left the soap in the water and then I would get my hands in the water so I could get them all soapy. And when I squeezed it, it came barely up into the frame and dropped. You can hear it hit the tub, but it bounced and you hear because it landed in the water. I could not have scripted that shit, you know what I mean? And that's you see me kind of lose it on that tape because I'm like, damn, I want to, you know how when you flip the bottle and the bottle lands right, I want to, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I can't because I'm trying to keep like we've done a lot of takes. I want to make this shit work. Um, and even that said and done, like I'm covered in soap. No, that was shaving cream, bro, because soap did not look I couldn't lather on soap and it looked on good on camera.
Yeah.
So we took cheap ass shaving cream and I put shaving cream on to make it look like I'd been in the shower. And at that even the running water sound wasn't the
Mhm.
shower. It was the fucking water faucets for the sink because I could and I just turned on the water and let it run for like 3 minutes. And then I took that and dubbed it into the video. Like when I say we were fully dressed, like uh,
Mhm.
Harley wasn't no, he wasn't in shorts. I was in bathing suit shorts. He was in a pair of jeans
Wow.
in that whole video. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but it was, and I love creative shit like that. That was so much fun. Like I want to do more shit like that, social media wise, like because it was just so much fun. And it was funny because Harley House was a beast at just ad hoc out of nowhere creating a video.
Mhm.
But in that video, because there's multiple scenes, right? Like he watched me take all of those scenes and put them together. And I forgot what I was using. Oh, wait, I do. I can't remember the name, but it was before CapCut was really a thing.
Mhm.
And he watched me take all of this footage and we sat in his living room for like 3 hours drinking and just cutting up. And I'm the whole time on my fucking laptop doing this whole video, and I finally got the final cut of it. And every time I did something, everybody that was at the house at the time, I was, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And we got it together. And like, so sound effects, like, because a lot of the sound effects, other than the soap dropping, like all the water sound effects and stuff like that, any of the other sound effects, like I literally went and found the way to make that sound effect, and then
Hmm.
copied the audio file in there and got the volumes right so that it seems somewhat natural. I'm not a video guy. Trust me. You find somebody at video school, they're probably going to tear me a new asshole. But it worked. And I think the first time I ever did something so epic, I think you remember Blacktop
Yep.
and Harley and somebody else were doing some trend where they were looking like drag, and most of it was like AI filters or some shit. Well, before it was AI, it was just filters, right? So they were wearing filters. One of them actually put on whatever. But I remember doing that video, and what I did was I said, "Oh, uh, bike nights are back, and they got all the chicks and blah blah something like that." And I did all of these different camera shots of me running to my door, like from my bedroom door, which you see me running out of, and I slide past, and then I come back
Hmm.
down the hallway, and then I run, and then you see me jump over the camera like I'm in full stride running down the hallway. The hallway's not even 5 feet, bro. The length it took me on that foot, that must have been like a 20-foot hallway or some shit. No,
Right.
it might be 5 feet. But once I did that, like that's what actually got me together with Harley House. And I really enjoyed that. And I wish I had like somebody as brilliant minded as a Hammy or a Harley House, and with my video editing capabilities, and just run ideas, like we could be out here acting fools, and I would be having the time of my life. So and it's funny because it all started with TikTok. So I remember I had a friend always sending me TikToks. I'm grown. I don't need no TikTok, bro. I'm not watching no that's for the kids. I'm not fucking with no TikTok. Oh, you gotta
Hmm.
watch it. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny. So finally, I started watching a couple TikToks, and yeah, it was funny. Some funny shit. Then I realized I had downloaded TikTok, but it was still some funny shit. And then one day I
Hmm.
saw that little plus button, and I said, hmm. And I hit the plus button. I forgot what my first video was, but it was dumb. It wasn't about shit, but people liked it. Oh, and commented on it. And I had no friends on TikTok at that time. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it went downhill from there. So that's what I started dealing with biker talk. Uh, and like I knew who Harley House was, but Harley House is Harley House. Like he was already a big name.
Hmm.
And I knew a couple of the big names, or I knew of them, like the Hammies, the ones who shall not be named. I knew all, I've been in these people's lives, and they at least recognized my presence, but I wasn't the cool
Hmm.
guy. And then I start making a couple of goofy ass videos, and then now, because hey, you know how to use a ruler? Yeah, now they're like, fuck yeah, because I
Show
join in.
me.
Yep, yep, yep. Oh yeah, that was one of my great videos with him. Doing that duet with him. That was a fucking awesome video. The shower scene is probably the one that put me on the map. And I'm still not.
Hmm.
I'm still not as big as any of those creators that I've done videos with. But yeah, that definitely, the shower scene was one that put me on the map. And it's funny because most of the people that talk shit wanted to be like, "Oh, are you both naked?" Blah blah blah. Y'all are the ones watching the video the most. Like I looked up 6 years later, and you just re-liked the video. I'm like, how'd you re-like the video? Oh, new account. That's why. Uh, like it still makes it rounds. It still makes its rounds.
So all this social media stuff, how can people find and follow Loki?
All right, so we'll start with the best way is anything Texas Hot Sauce Company. If you look for in on TikTok, Texas _Hot Sauce Company, on all other social platforms, look for Texas Hot Sauce Company. On Facebook, there's two of us because one of the accounts got locked. Um, just look to see how recent the posts are, and the one that has the most recent post is me. But you can guarantee any and all of those are directly to me. But also on Instagram, Facebook, look for H Town Loki. Generally, there's an underscore right about here. But if you see H Town Loki, chances are you're going to see this ugly mug, or you'll see the cartoon rendition of this ugly mug, and you can find me there as well. Matter of fact, maybe if I find the shower scene before you post this, you can like do that at the end of it so everybody can see what the shower scene is, because everybody's gonna look for it. I know. I think it's still pinned. It might still be pinned. I don't know.
It is still pinned.
Oh, it's still pinned. All right, bet. So find me on TikTok, man. Say hi. How you doing? It's one of my pinned ones. The ruler one's also pinned, I believe. The ruler's still pinned.
It is.
All right, so yeah, go. Those are probably my two greatest hits. So at least I wasn't a
I'll
one
put
hit
them up.
wonder. I got two of them, not a one hit wonder. I got two of them. Damn it.
What has been your biggest success in life?
My daughter, absolutely, my daughter. Nothing pales
Mhm.
in comparison to the. And it doesn't mean I was the most of success for my daughter, but to see where my daughter is in life tells me good or bad decisions that I've made paid off, and everything's going to be all right. And that's even back to your motivation question. I will re answer that. There was some very dark times in my life, and the one thing that kept me going and from doing something stupid was, how would I explain this to her, and how could I tell her don't go down this path if I go down this path. Um, I haven't made all the perfect decisions with my daughter. I'm not like the Ace Boon Coon, Dad of the Year, perfect father award. You should be like Loki type of guy, but uh, good, better, and different. When I see my daughter and where she's at, I've done something in my life right.
That's awesome. I missed a question that I do want to go back and ask.
Come on.
You used to tell me to stay on the porch all the time. Where did that come from, and what does it mean?
Oh shit. Um, so big dogs play in the yard, little dogs play on the porch, right? And then got me over here, I knocked my pillow off and everything. Um, and you were often a very young pup trying to play with the big dogs, and you were going to get tore up out here in the yard. So it was kind of like, stay on the porch, stay your lane. But it was also, being a pup on the porch, you're gonna learn how to play with the big dogs at some point. Like, we every now and then was like, come off the porch and come play with us, and so you could learn. Um, and you did. I like. Uh, there was a lot of shit you was doing back then that, let's be real, there's people that don't talk to you today because of the shit you were
Yep,
involved with. You was
facts.
you was definitely on some puppy shit. You were chewing slippers and pissing all in the house, and you weren't doing big dog shit. But I look at you now. You're playing off of the porch. You're doing big dog shit. You're doing,
So, thank you.
so yeah, that's what that was. And it was kind of always, me growing up, that was kind of a one of the older guys, one of the OGs, one of the big bros, et cetera, et cetera. It was a rite of passage, you know what I mean? And at some point in time, you're like, I'm gonna prove to big dog that I can play off the porch, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so it's a rite of passage.
It's funny because you saying big dogs, right? When I started this, I knew you had to be one of the people to come bless this platform. Like, you're an OG, bro. I've respected you since the beginning.
Thank you, bro, but Just little old Loki, bro.
Um, is Loki Ware still active? Is there anything cooking with it?
It's not currently active. Like I said, I need to get the hot sauce standing on its own and out of my pocket, and then we'll get back into it. I still have all of the equipment. I even have some inventory. I just haven't really pushed on it because it's kind of hard to divide yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I got it. Um, what made you want to get into clothing when you started Loki Wares?
Now that's a good story. Um, where Loki Wears was actually born. I wanted to go to a rally
Mm-hmm,
and I wanted to go party and drink and have a good time. And I had the money in hand to go do so and had enough to make sure I had a very good time. But I couldn't justify spending that money because there were some other things going on at the time. And I couldn't justify me actually spending the money just to waste it at a rally because I mean, if I brought anything tangible, it'd have been a t-shirt. Other than that, it would have been, food, alcohol. I would have had the memories. That's what I've been paying for, right?
mm-hmm,
So what did I do? I was like, man, I got to make this work because I've already taken the time off. I don't want to not go and I don't want to not be on my motorcycle, blah, 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 blah. So I came up with a brilliant idea. It was dumb as hell, but it worked. It's like, why don't I make a t-shirt brand and I go as a vendor? Now, instead of just the fees of taking my bike up there, and I ended up having to go rent a trailer so I could take my bike, but then I also was filling my truck up with all of my Escalade with all of my merch, and then I have to go get merch made. And I went up there. The first event I had my all you can eat panties. I had boy shorts that said I may not have my virginity, but I still have the box it came in. I had I had a shirt that had these two little lines like this, kind of looking like
mm-hmm.
cleavage, and it says, I sure am glad I have these because who needs eye contact? What else did I have? I had oh God, what else did I have? But I think I had another female shirt. I had three, I guess, unisex t-shirts, and I bought a couple of hundred of each shirt. And
Mm-hmm.
between all of the shirts, well, I say a couple hundred because it was multiple sizes. Um, but between all of the shirts, the merch, I also had learned to make these right here, which is a beer rope. You take the carabiner off, slide that over the top of your bottle, slide that over the neck of your bottle. Now your beer has got a handle. So I was making these beer ropes, and I did all these things, and I spent at least because now I'm in my truck instead of riding my bike. I got all this equipment. I had to pay vendor fees, and with the beer ropes, I had a deal going that if you bought one, I couldn't sell you a beer, but if you bought a beer rope, I could give you a free beer. And just to keep you promoting for me, if I saw you with an empty beer rope, I could give you another beer. So that's what I was doing, stuff like that. And when I say every time when I went out to go party, on top of all of my expenses, once everything was paid for, including the beer, the food I ate, if you showed up and you were going to help me out, I paid for your food. Like anything I could expense in a 3-day weekend rally, I came home with at least $1,000 in my pocket just so I
Nice.
could go and party and drink and look at boobies, because that's what I was. That's what it was. I went to old school biker rallies, and that's what it was, and that's how Loki Wears was born.
What got you into doing hot sauce?
My restaurant. So the original flavor came from a friend of mine, and he wasn't gonna sustain it as a business, so I picked it up, and I'm here today, and with two new flavors. So The hot sauce is purely my love of food. So I tell
Mhm,
people I'm not a hot sauce connoisseur. I'm a foodie. Even with my hot sauce, even the Carolina Reaper, even the
mhm.
Carolina Reaper, that's the hottest one I have. Um, I tell people if you don't want a second bite from it, I'm fucking up because I'm not here to do like the one chip challenge.
Mhm.
I want it to be about flavor. I want you to go, oh my God, that is good. I want you to want a second bite. I want you to experiment what you would put it on. Um, I dude, have I ever told you I've eaten this on ice cream before?
No,
And it's amazing.
that's awesome.
I had the first time I ate it on something weird, and when I knew I really had a hit is I had just put insulation in my attic, right?
Mhm.
And I had the whole suit on and all that, and I just took it off. It ripped at the crotch, but I not before I was drenched in my own sweat, right? And you know, Demon.
I know
And
Demon.
Demon was already trying to get people to eat it on candy bars, ice cream, on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like he was out there trying to pull some challenges together, right?
Mhm.
And so for whatever reason, I'm sweating, I'm tired, I haven't eaten, and I know I'm hungry, but when I'm hot and sweaty like that, my stomach's like, nah, no food. So I was like, well, I need something to hydrate and put something on my stomach. Maybe not like a steak and eggs breakfast or nothing, but I
Mhm.
eat. And I got on live because I saw Demon and a couple of other the biker talk, the old school biker talk folks. And somebody was like, I was like, I'm gonna make me some watermelon because that will hydrate me and put some food on my stomach. And I believe it was Demon, but it was definitely in that live. Have you eaten it with some hot sauce yet? When I tell you, I looked at that camera disgusted, like, you mother, I'm just, you sorry. Why would you? And there was a voice in my back of my head, like, but you own a hot sauce company. You got to do it. And at this point in time, I haven't eaten it on no Reese's peanut butter cups or nothing like that. So I put some just on a cut of watermelon, stuck the fork in there, and I'm looking at the camera like, you motherfucker. Holy shit. And so I start putting it all over there. And then I was like, hold on, let me go get some tahini. And I got a little tahini, threw it on there. Oh my God. Oh, some of the best watermelon I ever had, bro. So I was like, okay, as much as I cussed Demon out about that, he might be onto something. And one day I was eating ice cream, and he's like, "Yeah." He didn't challenge me. He was like, "Yeah, I did it. Remember, I did it on the candy bars and blah blah blah. I liked it on ice cream." I was like, "There's no way in hell." Like I said, "There's no way in hell this is gonna taste good on ice cream." Hold on, I just happened to have a bowl, so I took a spoon, put some. It was vanilla ice cream, just some bluebell ice cream, and I put it on there. And wow, that that actually works. Why does vanilla ice cream, and I've had it on cookies and cream, not cookies and cream,
Nice.
uh, chocolate chip dough, chocolate chip cookie dough, ice cream. Uh, I don't know why, but it works. It absolutely works. So yeah, I've eaten it on some weird things and enjoyed it. Like, but then that let me know that I'm really succeeding in my mission because I don't want it to be a challenge. I don't want it to be that once in a lifetime that you tried it. Like I want it to sit on your dinner table because every time you want something spicy, you reach for one of mine.
So I've seen, like, I know you don't have all the bottles with you tonight, but I've seen the orange and I've seen a red and a green bottle.
Yes, correct.
What's the difference between all the bottles?
So the green is the mild. It is a jalapeno based. The orange is the original, which is habanero based. And the red is the hot, which is Carolina
Okay.
Reaper based. The basics of their recipes are the same, minus the pepper and the supporting vegetable is the only thing that
Hmm.
changes between the three sauces. The pepper changes on all three sauces. The vegetable only changes on one of the three sauces. Um, and But yeah, that's the three flavors we have right now, and it's like I said, all natural. So if you read the label and it says garlic, it's not garlic powder, it's not garlic paste, it's not Eau toile garlic. It's
Hmm.
actual garlic cloves that are in that bottle.
So you're saying you've seen on a bunch of different stuff, like eating on different stuff. What would you say is the weirdest one that really kind of baffled you or shocked you?
Well, just like I was saying, the watermelon is the first one that threw me for a loop. Ice cream was the weirdest one, but it at the end of the day, it kind of made sense because like even when I sell it, I'm at a bike rally trying to sell hot sauce. Well, they're here to look at motorcycles, not talk to the guy selling hot sauce. I feel like that guy
Hmm.
that's at Costco or Sam's that wants to see your phone bill or try to get your electric or you know what I mean. So most people are trying to walk by like if I don't say nothing, maybe he won't see me. And I wait, I let them walk right past me, and when they get to right about here, I'm like, have you ever had brownie made with hot sauce? And then you can watch the brain break, like, did this mother just say a, a brownie with hot sauce? And then they'll turn and be like, what'd you say? I was like, I didn't stutter, I said, have you ever had a brownie made with hot sauce? And then they try it and they're like, oh my god. And like what it does to that brownie, it makes it richer. It makes it you get so much more richness from the chocolate, and it's not until the chocolate finally subsides that it finally you get a little hit from the hot sauce where it's like, oh hey, and when they try that, you know, it blows their mind. So me doing it on ice cream didn't blow my mind. Everything else I've eaten it on generally is some meat based or a salad or something like that, which
Hmm.
doesn't make me go, oh my god, I didn't believe that worked. Watermelon was the first one because I mean I've had hot sauce. I mean I've had hot sauce on fruit before, and really didn't think about it. But I also wasn't thinking about my hot sauce in the category of those hot sauces that I've had on fruit. And the moment I did it, I was like, oh wow, this hits way different.
It's funny because I just remembered a live that you did like this probably I think it was last year, maybe the year before. You were at some kind of show at like it looked like it was a mall or something like that, and you had the brownies out with the hot sauce, and an older lady was walking by, and you asked her if she'd ever had brownies made with hot sauce, and the look on this lady's face, like if you could describe what the fuck was the look, it would be the look on this lady's face. And she took the brownie and walked away. Then I remember a few minutes later, she came back and got another one. I was like, that,
She got
that
one with
right
the hot.
there.
Yes. So I was at that would have been not last year, year before last. It was year before last. I was at an art festival.
That's what it was.
Or not,
Yes.
it was an art festival, but it was an art showing, like an art
Mm-hmm.
gallery type of thing. So again, I'm the only guy selling anything food related in here. People didn't come to see food; they came to see art. As people
Mm-hmm.
were like, people had to finally go, well, I guess culinary arts is an art. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, there you go, because food is an art for me. Like that, I can't paint them like Picasso, like you know. But when your taste buds go, oh my God, I taste Picasso. Your eyes didn't see Picasso, but your taste buds will. Yeah, I that lady, I remember because matter of fact, I had to stand to the like left or right of me so that you could see me kind of lean into frame, but it was more showing the other side of the table. And yeah, I remember that lady, and there was several on that live that were just flabbergasted. And if that festival was a little more fruitful because it's not close. I would
Mm-hmm.
probably that art, yeah, that art walk. It's called an art walk. If that art walk was a little bit closer, I'd probably be there every month because I just end up having so much fun with the clientele there because they're not there to see me, But once they
Mhm.
get a bite, they go and tell everybody and come, hey, you got to see what this guy's doing, and blah, like dude, they just and it just blows me because, like I said, that they're not there for food; they're there for art. And now they're telling everybody about this food art guy over here, and if I didn't have a if my day job was hot sauce, I would force myself to that location more often because that's out there on the island, and I would love to be the island takeover hot sauce guy, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Now I'm very much a visual thinker, and I was just kind of thinking about like, this whole brownie hot sauce thing. Bro, you're kind of like a professional fisherman with that. Like, you throw that bait out there and you hook them every fucking time.
I think I hook the I think the brownie is more of the sinker. I think the hook is me, and it's not because I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm not like, oh my
Mhm.
god, we got to go hang out with Loki, but I'm having such a good time. Like, you just get that vibe, and you're like, he's just having too much fun. I need a piece of that, and I won't say like energy vampires, but they want to soak some of it in too. Birds of a feather flock together, and if you're having a good time, you're gonna attract people that are having a good time or want to have a good time. And I think it's just when they see me, and just like how I play the game of wait until they get almost past me, like I don't
Mhm.
just start off looking at them as soon as they come. Hey, please come try my hot sauce. I would really like you to try my hot sauce. Like that. That's like no. That's no. But then when you think you've gotten away, and then I throw that line out there, and now you're thinking, and that energy that you get hit with, it's like it sucks you in, but it's fun. It's just me having fun, and I think you can feel I'm having the time of my life. You might as well enjoy 30 seconds of it, or else it'll
Um,
be the best 30 seconds you've ever had.
we'll, we're going to get to that later. Um,
I hope not you and I mean,
um, but I try to plug and hype the hot sauce as much as I can, and the listeners be hearing about all this free hot sauce. How can they order the hot sauce, Loki?
best way to order the hot sauce is go to TexasHotSauceCompany.com. Right on the front page, you'll see a button that says "Shop Now," and it'll take you straight to the shop. And how the website's set up now is you pick what do you want, a single pack, a 4 pack, single pack, double pack, 4 pack, or a 12 pack, and then you go in and fill in of which flavors you want. So if you get like a 4 pack and you want two originals, one hot and one mild. You just fill out that and pay for your order, and I get the notification, and I should get it in the mail.
Speaking of sales and buying hot sauce, are we going to see another code competition come up?
Yes, absolutely. So I've got some things in place. There's some quirks I'm trying to work out because the platform I did that on before absolutely sucked for it, but I maintained it, and it was very manual. Um, but the new system, because I left that platform altogether, the new system, what is going to happen is each individual that wants to participate, so listen up everybody, it's not like only certain people are going to participate. If you think you can outsell the best of them, there will be a sign up page where you can sign up and get your own personal discount code, and I will keep a track of how many people discount code actually sells a product. And there's going to be some rules so we can stop some of the bickering that happened before, even though
Mhm.
the two biggest
I heard
sellers
about
are
it.
like best of buds, and they're the ones pushing for this the most right now. We will get that, and but anybody will be able to sign up, get your own personal discount code, and There will be prizes of top sellers. Obviously, I'll be getting some hot sauce, and who knows, if depending on how the system works out, it might be one of those things for every 10 bottles that you sell, you might get a free bottle. That's not the exact number, so please don't hold me to it. I haven't worked out the numbers yet, but yeah, those it's things like that that I'm trying to work out to before we get it started, and life has just been kicking me in my butt, so I had to refocus. But yes, there will be one by this summer.
Now, I am very few that's lucky to have this, but does Loki still sign bottles?
For the time being, I kind of took that option off of the site because everybody's got a signed bottle. Half of them got ate and probably thrown away. I don't know if they still even have the signed bottle. You're one of the few that have your signed bottle still full. Um, and quite frankly, yeah, I might have to add $1 for every bottle you want to sign on there because it became it became a lot. And it's not, I'm not egotistical, it's not, but there was time. It took time. And if you go see all the bottles that I've got out there right now, um 99.9% of them, because I knew who I was signing it for, was very personalized. I made a
Mhm.
message directly to that person, not just, hey, thanks for your business. There was a couple of bottles that I'm like, how did they even know that I would sign a bottle? I don't know who this is." That, yeah, it was just thanks for your business, because I didn't know anything personal to say. But most
Mhm.
of the bottles out there actually have very personalized message. So there's time in thinking, like, I think about you, like, there's a good chance that I'd probably one time be like, look at you finally off of the porch, love H-Town Loki, and sign it with my government name on the
Yeah.
back end. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It even got to the point where I didn't know who was actually buying the bottle. Did they know me as H-Town Loki? They know me as my government name. Like, which way do y'all want me to sign this? And right now, that option's not there. If
Okay.
somebody calls me up and goes, "Hey, I just ordered a pack. This is my order number. Could you sign one for me?" It could possibly happen, but right now it's not an option on the order form. It'll come back though, but it, like I said, it might cost an extra dollar or something stupid just because it does take time.
With all this food talk, what's Loki's favorite food?
uh, I knew this question was coming. I knew this question was coming. You'd think I would have prepared for it. I'm gonna right now. I'm gonna start with brisket because there's nothing else like brisket out there, right? Um, there's some homemade dishes out there I just like. I love me some oxtails. I absolutely love oxtails. But even that, like, I love chitlins. You don't get chitlins that often like I used to.
I'm in
Some of them
Canada. I don't
rolls.
know what chitlins are.
You don't want to know. If you don't eat chitlins, you're not gonna start. I can almost guarantee you. Unless somebody fools you into eating it, like I fooled some people to eating oxtails because they didn't know what it was. It's really a tail. It's the cow tail, like bone and all. But
Mhm.
um, you know, and I don't know, for some reason this one feed keeps coming up on my TikTok and my Facebook of like these old post-slavery type foods that you know not poor families grew up with, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't had that in forever. And I start remembering, like, I like food, bro. um and I really love, I don't like rich people's food, I because that usually doesn't have flavor. I Anywhere I go in the
Mhm.
world, like if I travel, I want to know what the locals eat. And generally, I want to go to the bad side of town and see what they're eating there, because
Yeah.
that tells you so much more about the culture than just going to the local museum and reading about it there. Um, Food tells you a lot about what that culture survived on, because even brisket's a funny thing. Everybody is It's a prime meat. Brisket used to be something the people who had money threw away.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was give it to people that were low on the social ladder than them. They gave it to them for free or dirt cheap, because it's a very, very, very tough piece of meat. Like, it's hard to, it's
Mm-hmm.
not, you can't just throw it in the stove and cook it. It has to be low and slow to render it and break it down.
Yeah.
And lobster, that's another one of those. It's like, no, but nowadays you pay top dollar for both of those. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I love food. I want to see what that culture's built on, food wise. My best one for me though, my favorite probably is, like, when I go to other places and say I'm traveling for work and I see a barbecue restaurant, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop, and the first thing I want to do is I want a piece of brisket and I want your ribs, and so I can see everything else about your restaurant. So probably brisket, man. I'll say if I don't get enough of it, because I eat a lot of steak. I eat a lot of
Mm-hmm.
chicken. I eat a lot of hell. I had steak and a baked sweet potato tonight before while you and I were texting
Nice.
line. Um, but I don't have as much as I make good brisket. I don't have as much brisket as I would like, and a lot of times I make brisket and it's gone before I get to make my own plate. So
Speaking of dinner and plates and all that, if Loki could have anything he wants for dinner, what's on his plate?
pink tacos. Oh wait, this is a family friendly show, so I can't do that one,
No,
huh?
it's not.
Um, um, home cooked, bro. I'm not necessarily. I want to taste the love you put into making the dish, so I'm not. I would not be too picky. Like, I like to eat, bro. I had somebody surprised at me because Loki's never made lasagna. It's not in my wheelhouse, but it's not that I don't like lasagna. I would rather it not be Sara Lee's. I would rather, oh, this is my grandmother's recipe, and made some lasagna, and grandma was from old school Sicily or something. Then I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in. Uh, I like food, and I like home cooked meals. I really love older recipes that have been in
Yeah.
family generations for years. I mean, for been in family bloodlines for generations, because you can taste it. Like, love and history is an ingredient in food. Um, Hell, I got one called old fashioned butter roll. Like,
Mm.
yeah, if you don't have diabetes, go find a friend that has diabetes and get his insulin. Because it is, if bread pudding and cobbler had a love child, it's what this is. But it's something like, I can tell you the lineage on it and where it came from, when it was with people that didn't have a lot and they made everything out of nothing. And you can taste it every time. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah, if I come in and be like, "Hey, we're gonna make beans on toast," yeah, no, I'm probably out. I'm probably out, bro. But most, if you really can cook it, and it's, my grandmother passed this recipe down to me, I'm probably there. I'm probably in. Very few
when
things I don't.
Loki's cook when Loki's cooking or making dinner, are we more likely to find you in the kitchen, on the barbecue grill, or over on the smoker?
I will either be in the kitchen or on the smoker. Ironically, funny enough, my wife loves to grill, and
Mhm.
I just got tired of fighting over the grill. She won't touch the smoker unless I tell her, keep the fire hot while I take a nap.
Mhm.
She really doesn't touch the smoker, but she's done so much grilling in her life that when we got together, we would fight over the grill. So I got tired of fighting over the grill. Um, I just I love being in the kitchen. Um, so it depends. Like, if I'm doing if I'm doing steaks, I'm probably in the kitchen. But obviously, if I'm doing brisket, I'm obviously on the smoker. But
Mhm.
if I'm doing a hamburger, it depends on which hamburger I'm doing because I might be in the grill. I mean, I might be at the pit, the smoker, or I might be in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it all depends on what I plan on cooking. I love to cook. If you leave my house at 4 in the morning and you leave hungry, it was probably your fault. Because if you told me at 3:30 that you were hungry, I would have probably went in there and found something to cook.
Now, do you have one of those old school smokers? Like you still got to put the wood and everything yourself?
Hmm.
What do you
So
think of the
it's not
new school that you can do it all from your phone and all that?
um overall, and I pick on a good friend, Harley House 76, that has, one of those, and so that he remains nameless, we won't want to talk about him on live or nothing.
Yeah,
Uh, and heaven forbid he actually gets on an interview and talk shit
probably
back
have
to
to
me.
be
But
that come
anyways,
get on the platform.
Harley House. Um, but they're consistent, and not everybody. Like when I cook a brisket, I know I'm going to be up for 16, 18, 24 hours making this
Mhm.
food. And I'm here for that. And I want to put in that amount of work so that when you take that first bite, it's important to me that I know I did that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but not everybody's built like that, and that's okay. I actually owned, and it just set out so long, I think it's rusted through, but I own a pellet smoker because one of the first
Mhm.
professional cooks I did, I didn't have my stick burner. Those things are not cheap. I think I bought this pellet smoker. It was like $800, and it was big enough to hold the chicken and everything else. And it came out great. It came out consistent. I think the difference is it's consistent like McDonald's is. Like McDonald's is going to be exactly the same no matter where you
Mhm.
get it, time of day you get it. And the offset smoker with the stick burner, like I have, is consistent like grandmother. Like it was always the same dish, but she didn't measure it. Like sometimes it might have had a little more salt, maybe it had a little more paprika, and it but that tastes like love to me. Like that feels authentic. Like, and I think that's the difference for me with stick burners versus um, pellet smokers or something automated like that.
Okay, I'm going to cut a quick little promo. I've heard many people say that they have enjoyed having Loki's meat in their mouth, and the sauce after is the chef's kiss.
Do you want me to go through that whole speech right there?
Yes, I really do.
Okay. Hold on, let me do this, folks. Not only are you going to watch me rub it and sit there until things get nice and hot, you're going to watch me put my meat in and take it out. And not only will you put it in your mouth, you will swallow, smile, and ask for some more. I'm talking about my barbecue, dirty minded Jesus Christ, people on the internet. And
So
now, and
enough.
now everybody says I go around spraying my Loki sauce in everybody's mouth. So
That's right.
yes, yes, that is me, the one and the same. But I
So
really enjoy food.
so speaking of food and all that, but when Loki's not at home, where does he enjoy going, or what's his favorite spot to go grab food?
The favorite spot to go grab food?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hard one, man, because since I owned a restaurant and I saw a lot of things behind the scenes at a whole bunch of different restaurants, there's not a lot of them I like to eat at as like a
Mhm.
go-to. There's a Mexican joint around the a corner that I used to love to death until the original owner sold it. Then it became a Cisco truck. Not that anybody knows Cisco sells stuff to restaurants, and
Yeah.
you can have a Mexican restaurant and basically go, I got a Mexican restaurant, and they populate everything for you. There's no buying the ingredients to make
Hmm.
the food. They just give you the dishes. Um, there's I still love today, like just a quick, I don't feel like cooking. I want something good. I love schlotchkis. I absolutely
Hmm.
love schlotchkis. Um, there's a place in town called A Taste of Texas. Oh my God, fucking phenomenal. But that's not a hey, let's go. That's like a once or twice a year that you saved up your money to go. Um, yeah, I don't really have a go to spot. There's places I like to go to, but not a go to spot. I'd rather go buy some shit and cook here. Even now, when I travel for my job, I take food with me on the road so I can cook in my hotel room.
So we're starting to wind down to like the last 4 or 5 questions. What's
Okay,
life look like these days for Loki?
busy, always running. If I'm not working, I am doing hot sauce, and actually, I've been a horrible biker the last 2 years, because I haven't really. I've been working. Um, we're trying to round that out and get some more riding in this year. Absolutely. And I'm going to ride to work. And when I say I ride to work, before anybody's like, well, that's not riding. When for me to show up to work, a lot of times it takes me 2 to 3 hours to get there because I'm going to different cities to visit different spots
Hmm.
for my job. So I will, yeah, when I say I'm going to ride to work, it means I'm riding somewhere, working in a local area, staying in a hotel, and then riding to the next area. Like I'll visit half of Texas before I get back to the house. Um, so we're gonna work on that. We're gonna be pushing on the hot sauce. But heck, even just going out to the bar and getting drunk is just not as entertaining anymore.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it's I'm starting to act like I'm over 50 years old. Oh shit, I am.
So what can we expect to see in the future from Loki then?
You're definitely going to see, you're probably going to see a lot less of H Town Loki as the individual. You'll probably see a lot more of the uh, Texas Hot Sauce Company and the
Hmm.
Loki, and you'll see a lot more of Loki Eats. And if you want to follow Loki Eats, it's going to be Lokey, not Loki, but Lokey,
Hmm.
Loki Eats, because on the low key, it's low key in food. Because yeah, I think I want to do more content, driven content, not just hey, look at me, please follow me. Like I want to cook food and make it not scary for somebody who doesn't get in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah.
You know, you've kicked and shared a lot of game with me over the years, and being someone you're like, how do I use this respectfully? Fuck it, someone your age, your generation.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a lot
That,
of younger guys coming up now, and like you've got this big following, and I'm starting to build a following on this platform. What is some kind of tips or like advice you can tell like the men who listen to the young guys coming up?
I mean, be be true to you. Um, a lot of people try to do stuff to impress others. And like as a young kid, I was not the cool kid. Dude, I'm still today a nerd. We're gonna get off of here. I'm gonna the big screen right there. That's a big screen. You
Mm-hmm.
can't see. I'm gonna go watch anime and nerd stuff on it. I have this big old computer screen so that I can, not because I played video games. I played video games with you, but because I do nerd stuff and I enjoy being
Mm-hmm.
that. And I remember when I was trying to be cool and do what the cool kids did, nobody really effed with me. Like I wasn't cool. when I embraced the fact that, hey, I'm just a little old nerd Loki, like I'm just who I am and I do what I do. Even the cool kids was like, dude, you got to hang out with us. Um, I think when you do that, like let's say you're trying to become a content creator, when you show who you are more than who you want people to see,
Mhm.
people will generally navigate to you a lot more versus if you try to be something that you think they want to see. Not only will people feel not connected to you, but at some point in time something's going to happen and everybody's going to see the real you, which will be way more detrimental versus just showing the real you from jump, man. So like, always as that saying, you do you, boo. Just do you, man, and you'll probably succeed a lot more than not.
So I don't know if you ever really watched Jerry Springer, but
Absolutely not.
I was gonna say, what is Loki's final thought?
Actually, I can't say I never watched it. I actually dated a girl that was on there like three times.
Wow.
Well, it's a story for another day.
Right.
Um,
We'll catch you on another episode.
Final thought, man. Um, you know what? I have a great one. When I played football in our day house, there was a sign that said, "Never be satisfied." Because the moment you satisfied is when you'll never go any further. And back in those days we explained it with lifting, like if you were bench pressing 250, and if that was your goal and the moment you got to 250, you would never get 255 no matter how much you tried, because you were satisfied with 250. So never be satisfied. You can, you can reach for more. Like that was something you were taught in basic training for those that were in the military. You were taught no matter how much you thought this is where you're at or you could go, if you weren't satisfied, if you were hungry, you could always go here. And even the moment you got here, you stay hungry, you're gonna go there. So never be satisfied. Push you're your own competition. Push yourself to your greatness.
And just one last time, in case the listeners or viewers missed it, how can they get the hot sauce?
Go to TexasHotSauceCompany.com. If you it's right there on the bottle. TexasHotSauceCompany.com. Hopefully that's it. There we go. TexasHotSauceCompany.com. It's in the name. TexasHotSauceCompany.com. Don't forget the company, because everybody always forgets the company. They just go Texas Hot Sauce and wonder why they're not at my site. And those people want to sell me that site, but they like want 2,100 for it. I'm like, no,
Um,
I'll give you $100. So no, don't forget the company. TexasHotSauceCompany.com.
um, before we close out, bro, I just really want to thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your time and your energy with us, taking game and sharing some of that knowledge from an OG. And I just want to show you love and respect, man. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love to see where from you talking to about it to you now you're doing it, and it's a real thing, and you're not half-assing it, you're all in. uh Look, all the conversations and talking we've had, hell,
Mhm.
I'm gonna take a little pat on my back, because dude, look at you, and you can and will do bigger and greater shit in your life than Loki ever has.
I'm going to say it one time. Your boy been watching and listening, but he went and jumped off the porch.
Finally.
I'm hoping one day when Texas hot sauce gets bigger, we can have you back and hear more stories and get more knowledge.
Right on. I look forward to it, man. Maybe we'll get a old reunion and get maybe some HH 76 and some Hammy and Olivers,
I
and
would love that.
we'll do a look at them now story, like
That's a great idea. where they now get all the guys together for a night.
Yep, that would be
I would
awesome.
love that. That's a great idea.
So,
But yeah, and Hardy House, if you see this, come get on the podcast. Come hang out with us. But yeah, thank you so
go get
much, my
your boy.
brother. Much love, dude. I'm going to sign us out. Have a great night, everybody.